Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. The viewers of these channels are mostly from Singapore and Malaysia. So far, the channel has been covering general investment topics like long-term investing, portfolio updates, companies such as Amazon, Microsoft, TSMC, and ASML. I have not covered individual companies from Singapore or Malaysia because my portfolio is mainly focusing on global stocks and not tied to the home country. This video is targeted to those who are mainly investing in their home countries. I will provide a couple of reasons why you should look outside of the country that you are residing when it comes to stock investing. Avoid concentration into single country. You may be watching this from Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, or Philippines. This is the country where you live. You may be working as an employee or you could be a business owner. Either way, your active income is already exposed to the country that you are in. Let's say you are working in Malaysia now. What are the country risks? For instance, the GDP growth may slow down because the COVID is not under control. Consumers are not able to travel freely and prefers to stay at home for safety reasons. Slower economic growth may affect the business activity and it may also put your career at risk. If you are investing in Malaysia stocks, which are also subject to the same risk, that's one form of concentration. It is possible that your company may need to retrench the employees to survive the winter. And if your stock holdings are doing poorly at the same time, that may add a lot of stress to you. Although pandemic is a global event, but not every countries are suffering the same severity. There are countries that are doing relatively better. China has managed to control the pandemic since the first quarter of last year. US, after the rollout of vaccine, also have seen their COVID cases reduce significantly. So by investing outside of the country that you are living, you can actually diversify the economic exposure of your active income and your portfolio. Global stock market offer more opportunities. MSCI ACWI Index is a global equity index. The index is covering both developed and emerging market. Singapore and Malaysia are small subset of the total stock market. Very small. You want to guess what is the percentage weight of Singapore and Malaysia in the global stock market? You can pause and write down your answer before you proceed. Here you go. This chart here is showing the country allocations of MSCI ACWI Index. Roughly 60% of the allocation is US stock market. Other countries with sizable allocations are Japan, China, UK, France, and Canada. Where are Singapore and Malaysia? It is this small slice here. Singapore allocation is only 0.27% and Malaysia allocation is only 0.16%. Both are very small markets. Okay, small market doesn't mean the companies in these two markets are bad. When we are building our portfolio, we need to pick good companies. So my questions to you is this. Do you think it's easier to pick good companies in small markets like Singapore and Malaysia? Or is it easier to pick good companies in larger universe like global stock market? Charlie Munger once said, the first rule of fishing is to fish where the fish are. So by opening up your universe and be comfortable investing in global stock market is definitely something that could help you to improve your portfolio returns. Global stock market for a more balanced sector exposure. If you look at the sector exposure, Singapore and Malaysia are heavily exposed to financial sector and have very little tech exposure, especially if we compare against US. This shouldn't be a surprise to us. Just look at the tech companies that we interact on a daily basis. Social network Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter are owned by US companies. TikTok, Kuaishou are owned by Chinese companies. E-commerce, Amazon is US company, Alibaba, JD and Pinduoduo are Chinese companies. Grab and Sea Limited are headquartered in Singapore but they chose to be listed on US exchange. Top cloud companies like AWS, Azure, Google are all US companies. US sector exposure are a lot more balanced as compared to both Singapore and Malaysia. China sector exposure is also quite balanced, although the consumer discretionary sector looks much bigger than the IT sector, but the top companies in the sector are Alibaba, Meituan, JD, Neo and Pinduoduo, which are considered tech companies. Singapore also have a sizable allocations to real estate. Top companies are CapitaLand, Ascendas REITs and CICT REITs. Singapore investor really likes to invest in REITs. For me personally, I would prefer to overweight into tech companies. This is because if one company is not using tech to disrupt a market, then likely they are soon to be disrupted or replaced by companies that are more innovative than them. In addition, companies that are riding on the tech trend, for instance e-commerce or cloud technology, their growth rate are usually much higher because these trends are still new and likely to sustain a longer runway. Other old economy stocks such as banks that did not invest enough in improving their services will likely see slow or negative growth in the future. For example, just compare the brokerage platform offered by local banks versus Moomoo, Tiger or Interactive Brokers. These disruptors offer better services at a cheaper fee. No wonder they are gaining market share. Is familiarity a problem? I have provided 3 reasons why you should focus on investing in global stock markets such as US and China. Avoid concentrating your exposure to single country, larger stock market for more opportunities, and access to US and China for larger tech exposure and a more balanced sector exposure. One common response that I got when I shared with my friends about investing in global market is that they don't understand these overseas companies. Is this a good reason? Yes, if you are investing in local companies, then most likely you are the consumers of these listed companies and you know their products well. That would definitely give you some confidence. However, this is not a good reason to just stay investing in local market and not venturing out. In fact, if you pay attention, many of these global companies have business in most of the countries in the world. For example, large tech companies are usually operating globally. Apple sells iPhones globally. Facebook sells their ads globally. You can use Google Maps and find a Starbucks almost anywhere in the world. You just need to look around you. Most likely, the everyday items that you are using are produced by companies that are listed on US or Hong Kong exchange instead of local exchanges. To conclude, if you haven't opened a brokerage that can access to global stock market, please open an account now. If you already have the brokerage, then it is time for you to think about the allocations between local stocks versus global stocks. I will suggest a higher global stocks for better growth opportunities. If you are yet to sign up Moomoo, you can use my referral code, link is in the description. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one. Cheers!